Okay, there we go. I've been gradually becoming more and more raw and more of an 80-10-10 diet, but my hardest part for me is kicking the salt and like the pepper and like the onions and like all of that stuff. I don't know if you can kind of explain a little bit about that, like why it's important maybe to get rid of like the vinegars and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty clean, except I still like I want to take that next step, and it's really hard for me to do that.
Condiments, yeah. Because, like we were talking about earlier, boring. Just watermelon, just lettuce with lemon. It's like your mind just loves. It's like food. It's like your favorite part of the day. You've been out there, you went to work, you're all beat up. Now you're going to come home and you still want to just eat lettuce with sprouts. Unless you're on a mission.
Right.
Unless you're on a mission of cellular regeneration.
Except the Blues Brothers. I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah,
Who was that?
basically.
Was that the Blues Brothers? Sorry.
That's basically what it is. Like, I'm on a mission, just like, not everyone's going to want that. They're like, are you kidding me? Take away my beer and pizza? Life wouldn't even be worth living. And that's how we are, because you don't even know that light inside you wants to come forth. And those, when you have those, what I've noticed for me, and I'm just coming, I think I've been, you know, ever since I've basically met you, I've been kind of at the peak of my game, and I worked at this for years. And I mean, it was, salt was tough. The salt is an adrenal weakness, and the sweets too, adrenal weakness, trying to stimulate. But, you know, I found that I can eat way better. I feel way better. I eat the right amount. The minute I start putting salt on there, I just can't stop eating, and it doesn't click. The true hunger, it is all skewed. It's like, okay, what do I want to have with my salt tonight? Is basically what the question becomes.
Totally.
It's a good way to think
It's
about it.
not like, oh, I want tomatoes with a little salt on it. No, I want salt with my tomatoes.
I think sugar's the same though too.
It is, and it depends on what your GI tract is like. But the desire for salt and sweet is both an adrenal weakness, which I would estimate probably 95% of the people are, because of the lives we live. You got to get up early and go to school and fill your head with a bunch of crap you're never going to use, and they program you. And it's like they don't teach you how to be happy. Nobody ever talks about that. They don't talk about how to be happy at church. They don't talk about how to be happy at school. And they sure as hell don't talk about how to be happy at your job, because that's not what they want, because happy people are free. They go to the beach. They say, screw this. I'm just going to get rid of the extra 2 cars in the boat, and I'm just going to minimize my house, and I'm going to live a simple life. But the thing is, on how to get over that stuff, it's kind of like, what it is you look at nature, and you say, the orange is just clean. Like, I think salt is fairly benign, except for what it does to your mind, in that like, you start asking that question, what do I want with my salt tonight?
Yeah.
And you're not looking at, do I need some fruit energy, or do I need some more nourishing green, calm energy? Like, the green is more like cool, like this, you know, just chilling. The fruit is more like zing, and then you need a little more fruit, which is okay, you know, like if you eat enough, you stay good, you know, with the fiber and everything. And the greens are more mellow out. But like for me, just the other night we had like, you know, romaine lettuce with sprouts, tomatoes, and lemon juice. And it's perfect. Now there's other issues here too we could address, in that if you get crappy tomatoes that have no flavor, then bust out the salt shaker, baby, because these are pieces of cardboard. So we're very fortunate here in this part of the world, in the Bay Area. This is the hub. I've been all around the U.S., and this is the #1 place for fresh, delicious, ripe food. So we are very blessed.
We were in New York. We were just in New York, and the produce and everything was from California. And the energy of the produce aisle was just like notches down from what it is out here. It's just, we take advantage of it because we're here.
Why people do that, why they use salt, because it's not, it's like you go to those places, the food is like a week old. It was picked early, so the full flavor of the fruit never came through. The soil was no good. I mean, we got a lot of things that are working against us. That when you want to eat your fruits and vegetables, you're like, you know, these fruits need sugar, or these vegetables need salt. So picking out good food, you know, it's just like, that's why I kind of feel for everyone. But then again, I kind of live my life as I'm going like, I'm glad to be here, you know, that I ended up here, because I'm seeing that, wow, it's like been awesome food choices for the last 6 months. And when a tomato's vine ripened, it doesn't need salt. But you go to Safeway and get one of those little sort of reddish orbs of watery cardboard, you like bust out the salt, bust out the spices, and try to see if we can make this thing edible. So we've got a lot going against us in this country. But here's how I'll end that question, if I can end a question. In that, when I eat salt, I wake up looking like Puff the Magic Dragon face. Big bags under my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like droopy. I don't know, who was I thinking of? Some droopy ass, like, you know, bags under my eyes. So it's like easy for me to not eat salt because I need to be looking good. And salt was one of the hardest things. I mean, it was like, I've done the whole thing, okay? Like, first it was like, meat was easy because it was like, meat is dead. And I was like, damn, I never thought of that before. That was pretty easy. Death. Meat is death. I was like, okay. That made a lot of sense. That was pretty easy. The carbs, the pancakes and stuff, and the eggs and the butter, that was kind of the next little phase area in there. And then kind of the bread had to go. And the eggs were like, okay, it's a whole food. I'm just lightly boiling them, or like frying them in some coconut oil. Did that in New York a little bit just to buffer myself there, and it was freezing cold. And that was a lot of salt and fat. And then just going through the progression. And then it's been like the clean raw food recipes, like apple cider vinegar is kind of neutral-ish. You know, it's kind of nice, but it does have a little bit of an acid side to it, which is okay. But unless you're trying to really get that pure blood is going to be from cherries, blackberries, blueberries, watermelons, you know, like especially those red fruits like the cherries and the berries. Those are going to build that, and those are blood builders, and those blood builders are actually tissue builders as well. So for me, to sum that up, it's like when I wake up puffy, I'm just like, that's not really cool. The salt doesn't really make me feel bad. It kind of dehydrates me though a little bit, but it also just, that puffiness, I'm not into it. It's like I need to be looking good. When I eat the puffy salt, I puff up. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, bro. But then when I just go to bed like on something simple and clean, I wake up, oh, no problem, no bags. So that's just like, that's the center of the deal for me. Then I think the salt is pretty benign on the human body. A good high quality salt. I think it just makes you hold water a bit. And, you know, that's nothing too wrong with that, to hold the salt in solution. So, you know, there's a lot of talk out there that you need salts and stuff, but I'm leaning on the side of the fence to where it's like, I mean, did they have salt licks in nature? I mean, what did animal life do for millions of years?
Right.
Did they all find salt licks, or did they survive off the sodium in the fruits and vegetables? And so for me, it's like right now, all this experience has led me, try this, go back on the salt, go off it, go off the vinegars, go off the garlic, go off the onions, go back on it, off and on, off and on. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I've found now, as I've been working, like we talked about on the earlier question, just I had this vision, like just plain lettuce. What's wrong with lettuce with apple slices on it, you know? And I'm working towards that because I think that builds the best blood. That builds the most healthy, high quality tissues and doesn't stimulate or clog up the fine filters in the body so that the blood can get to the cells. There's less things for the body to process. Therefore, the mind is clearer, you know? So I've been working at this thing, and I've found that I'm very, very satisfied with those clean, nourishing foods. But I have a distinct advantage in that I know how to pick good fruit. That's number one. And number two is I live in the Bay Area right now, and there's a lot of good food. Plus, she works for the farmers market, so I go there and I can sample this. Because a nasty ass peach, excuse my language, kids, is just nasty. You know what I mean? And it's just hard, and it's gross. And when it's ripe and dripping with juice, why on earth would you do anything to it? See, so there's a lot of just people are watching this video maybe, and they're like, yeah, the food here really sucks. So you know, if you gotta, it's better to have salt on nasty food than it is to like go and to get a cheeseburger. So you're really working at this thing, and then if you truly desire stepping yourself up in this world, you know, then you're going to be like, I'm going where the fruit is, I'm going where the vegetables are, I'm going where the raw foodies are. I have that distinct advantage as well, but I made that choice. I'm Dan the Life Regenerator, I'm a raw food dude, and everywhere I go, there's going to be raw food on the table, because they know I'm coming, you know? And so, and I'm just going to go where the good stuff is, because I'm going to live my life around health. I'm going to go somewhere warm, and I'm going to go somewhere where the food is good, and where the people are kind, and the sun shines, and the air is as fresh as possible. And then I'm going to go out and get plenty of sunlight wherever I am. I'm going to go to my friend's backyard, and take them off, and get out in the sun. And I'm going to look for fresh vegetables, and I'm going to drink that. And I'm going to be, I've been eating, I'm cleaner now than I've ever been after 12 years. I had periods where I did much better, but I'd always get sucked back in. I don't want to get sucked back in. I'm even a chef, and I make DVDs, and I prepare food for people at the classes, because in a certain way I feel like, hey, these tacos with the walnuts and the salt and the spices is a good way for people to, but I always encourage everyone to work their way towards where I'm at, which is super clean foods, because it makes a huge difference.
A bridge, like helping people bridge.
Yeah, so I have an understanding for everyone along the way, because I would go raw for 6 months, run into some stress, and I'd be at IHOP eating stacks of pancakes this tall, because I didn't know how to deal with stress, and it was like, and then once you're full of those foods, you're that stress and inflammation, because my mind. So this isn't just about food. This is full life regeneration. This is mind, heart, body, all of it, and you can't just do one or the other. You're constantly working at all levels of your being, because the stress, and then once you're so full of those foods, you know, that would knock out my problems. That's because if I didn't have drugs and alcohol, which I used, then it was then food, and I'm just getting to where I'm leaving that tail end of a food addiction. You know, I eat pretty good, like probably on average about 3 moderate-sized meals a day, some days 2. 2 I think is the best, because too much mixing is too much, but you know, 3 average meals a day and very clean stuff. And I make sure I have plenty of options around. Like, you know, we throw away maybe 3 to 5% of the stuff that we buy, because we just can't get to it, and your eyes get big when you go to the market, and you're like, okay, yeah, we got to get some of these, got it. And then you just don't get to those figs, and they kind of mold, and you're like, damn. And you try to do better next time, and think, come on, get a handle on it, dude. Just if you need to, you can come back tomorrow, you know. So, but at the same time, you want to make sure there's lots of options when you. So you want to have a balance between options, lots of options to choose from as you're going raw, but not too much to where the lettuce is wilty 4 or 5 days later from sitting in the fridge. So you've got to work this thing out. I like to shop about every 3 days, but you know, she works at the farmer's market, so some days we'll go like every day, you know, and I kind of like that. It's like I spend more money on gas, but the money that I use in gas is the stuff that I'd be throwing away because buying too much. So we kind of do go there every day, and then it's cool because then you can be like, you turn the radar on, the food radar. Like, what does your body want right now? And so, but right now I'm trying to bring in more greens and get a little more stable, as it's been working. Low sugar greens. Like, I love fruit, don't get me wrong, but I think that unless you're getting enough physical activity to burn up those sugars, it can actually have an adverse effect and turn more into acid. I'm at a moderate level of fitness, but I do spend a lot of time behind the computer, you know, and I love it. I love helping people. It's like I feel like I could have saved a life. I could have saved another one. Like, you never know. It's like a little rush. Like, this person might just do it. Some people do it. A lot of people don't. It's hard because your mind. I've had to do. I knew what I wanted the first second I read about raw foods. But how 12 years later, it's like I'm finally starting to get there. I'm finally starting to release like chronic tension in my shoulder blades because it was coming from my mind, and it's here, down here, and then that goes up through the nerves into the brain, causing stress there, causing the adrenals to go on. And so it's cleaning this, relaxing, learning to let go. You know, like when Terry didn't let the kids come, she's like, "Aren't you pissed?" And I was like, you know, I mean, maybe a couple years ago I would have been just pissed. I wasted all that money on airline tickets, and I want to choke her. And I was just like, you know, nothing's going to get me down, because staying calm and at peace is my dream. Is health. But what is health? It's like the full illumination of yourself coming through, you know. And so that is why it might be easier for me to let certain things go. And I have this vision. And we talked to this one dude who, he said, well, I got coconuts, and he goes, there was this guy, and he was a little Tibetan dude or something. And he's like, this guy just drank coconuts, and he became a Buddha, you know, just like my friend Robert Morse, who became a Buddha, you know, with oranges. That one thing, you're like, oh, you'll die. No, you won't. You'll get so clean and so clear, you'll have to surrender all your attachments in order to eat that way. And you'll be dumping and dumping and dumping, and your whole energy field of all those old waste matter will be washed out. And then all those old memories and obstructions will go with it. And so you'll be toothpick skinny, but your brain, your heart, and all your endocrine glands will be functioning optimally, and then you'll stay in that state. Once you get it, the full body cleanse, enlightenment, through the process, the complete healing, all the obstructions are removed, the mercury, the vaccines, the old heavy foods. You never go back, because you don't make those same mental, emotional, and food mistakes that you did before. So that's why the complete healing is very rare, but I have some mentors that have achieved it, and I have never thought of anything else since the first day. To make a place that is worthy for the Lord to inhabit. You know what I'm saying? So clean up the house. Don't just sweep it under the rug with some pills, but get it out, clean it out, and make a place that's worthy of the light of God to inhabit, so you can be that for the world. And we can return to the Garden of Eden,
Right.
you know, because otherwise we're just running around killing each other, suffering, struggling, filled with all these, you know, animosity and whatever that word is. I always get it wrong.
Animosity.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And relieving any, you know, like not hating the people that hate you, loving the people that hate you, being pure love and understanding and compassion by the removal of the obstructions to that, you know. So it's not just about food, it's not just about vanity, but hey, I play with all those things. I use those things to help me to keep going. Like, oh, I look pretty good, man. I'm gonna let go of that salt, because you always overeat too much when you eat salt. So there's just certain things I'm doing, and I use everything to my advantage. Everything. And I don't have any trip, oh, you shouldn't be vain, you shouldn't want to look good. Well, that's stupid. I want to look good, because when you look good, that's a result of what's going on inside of you.
Right.
On every single level. People are going to see your eyes, and they're going to say, there's something about that dude. And then they say, what's up, dude, with all those fruits and vegetables in your cart? Oh, that's all I eat. 12 years, fruits and vegetables. And they start looking at their cart like, ooh, I'm a slob. You know, you inspire them. People walk by me and they see me eating all the time. They don't have to say anything. They see me eating a box of figs, and they're like, that dude knows something I don't. Because he looks good, and they're inspired. Or they'll see me eating a watermelon in the back of my truck when I'm traveling. They don't have to say anything. They get it. I don't have to say anything to them. They don't have to say anything to me. They got it. They're like, I need to clean up my diet. It's a silent transmission. So, how was that? Is that good?
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, cool.
It's probably going to blow open.
It
unless
might
you turn
blow.
it
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Ask your question again, bro.
Thank you.
So when you are testing new things that you want to experiment with, how long does that usually take in order for you to get a good gauge on how you've responded to it or like learned from it?
Oh man, you're really testing my chops today. Good projection though on the voice. You got it. But I've had this idea in my head for a long time about what I want to do with the fruits and the herbs. And so really I've already known what I want to do. I can see it in my mind, how the fruits just really energize, and how the herbs just strengthen and build the system, energetically. So really, I just keep shooting for the same thing, which is more energy, more simplicity. And so it's really been trying to just get rid of the things that are in the way of that.
Okay.
Like there was a time when I didn't understand that 2 cups of unsoaked nuts every night was not going to get me where I wanted to go. I kept thinking, well, this is raw food, But 2 cups of unsoaked almonds every night with a bunch of heavy vegetables, because that's where I was. You come from the heavier foods, and that's what you think you need. But really, now that I think about it and how I eat now, it's like, I had like coconut and wheatgrass for breakfast, and I had about maybe 10 peaches for lunch, and then carrot, apple, ginger juice for lunch. Second lunch. And then on the way here, I just ate like a big old bowl of tomatoes, little sun tomatoes. So fresh, clean, like there's no salt, there's no fat in there, so just those really clean foods like that I'm just trying to really cleanse my GI tract and alkalize, because what happens is, we get deeply embedded inflammation that goes way back, and it just turns into a crust. And it takes about 20 part alkaline to disperse 1 part acid. So a couple of shots of wheatgrass ain't gonna get you where you want to go. You gotta alkalize, and then boom, you'll have a healing event of some sort. And you got to get those alkaline minerals into those places where the inflammation just closed itself off. Long-term chronic attack on the body with acid-forming foods or any type of drugs, the body throws up these layers of mucus to protect itself, where after long chronic abuses of those types, that inflammation is just hard as a rock, like rubber tires. And if you're going to get that to break loose, it's going to take a lot of alkalization. And of course, the water fasting is the final frontier. And when you get there, that's when all that acid waste and all those old memories that you buried with the drugs or the food are going to come up. And fasting is going to be very unpleasant. That's why I just stay with the fruits and vegetables, because you can go way too fast and cause trauma. You just want to slowly and steadily alkalize, soften, energize. So really what I've had is a vision of what's going to work. Like I've read every book, and all the masters basically say the same thing, that you've got to clean out the obstructions. You might get super thin, but once you've cleaned out the body finally, then you're going to put on healthy weight. All those old vaccines and drug abuse and Oreo cookies and ice cream binges and potato chips and salt and recreational drugs and all that stuff that just gets buried so deep that the average person might not be able to get a picture and an understanding of what's happening cellularly. So it's like I've been working towards the same vision for a long time. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to try this experiment. But like I did when I hung out with Lou. Like, the coconut almond yogurt is awesome once you're cleaned up. Or if you're, you want to get off the dead stuff that's taking you down. So then you can get on more heavier raw foods, and then you can just, then you can stabilize. Instead of going down, you can get on heavier raw foods, gourmet raw, and sort of, stop killing yourself, for one. You can stabilize. Then you can begin the process of the fruits and vegetables and the herbs and the alkalization and the fasting, and start getting that energy to tighten up. And as it's tightening up, it's going to start throwing off the debris. But you've got to alkalize it and break it down, the body. So you're going to try to get rid of all that crap, so you're going to get skinny. Then you can, once you've cleaned out the trauma, the abuses, the drugs, the residues, the inflammation, the uric acids, then you can stabilize with more nuts and seeds and build up. Most of us, though, spend our lives going from our parents in utero. Who knows what they were smoking and drinking and all those times, and the food that was white bread and raviolis and macaroni and cheese, and that's how we're a weakening race. We're not strong, and everyone's got different weaknesses. Well, I believe that we can tap into the DNA potential and regenerate. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sure as heck gonna do my best in this life to find out, because I want that for myself. Now, I had to learn how to love myself the way I am, but now I'm like, okay, I got all these skills, all this knowledge about fasting and raw foods and these different treatment therapies and regeneration. So you stop killing yourself, then you get stable, then you begin the process of mastery and the upward spiral of the energization. And you can actually become a superconductor energetically. And then the body, of course, is a reflection of the inner energy, the light. So you're wakening up the energy body first, and then the human organism follows shortly. So it's really a spiritual journey. If you want to wake up and be living in a good body, you have to be living, and you have to be letting those energies of life flow through you. So we're working on the spiritual energy. In other words, we're trying to be love all the time, not just half the day when things are pleasant. We're trying to stay in that state of love and peace, because when we're in that state, that's when the glands and organs function. Most of us, we just spend our lives getting old and dying because we're stressed out, we love the drama, we eat crappy foods, we don't really get into a real natural, happy state. So we want to get happy, then we can get healthy. Be happy with who you are and get into a field of love, because those energy fields of anger and greed and fear, you'll never get nowhere. If you're eating raw foods out of fear because you're afraid to be fat and not loved, you're never going to get anywhere. You know what I mean? You got to accept yourself where you are and say, all right, I'm cool. I might be 150 pounds overweight, but that's cool. I used this food because I was so heartbroken and I was abused, and I always buffer my feelings and I never express myself. So I suck it all down, and now I'm 150 pounds overweight and unhappy. That's cool. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't hate myself. I'm so undisciplined. You're never going to get it anywhere. But if you can get into a state of, oh, I love myself, I'm kind of overweight, but that's cool, then you can begin the process of really moving forward and making something happen. Like, I'm doing this all out of fun. First, I will be honest with you. It started, a lot of this Life Regenerator, raw foods, and healing started out as I'm not good enough and I need to find a way. Now, there's still some remnants of that in the way back in the deep unconscious. The more I meditate and contemplate, the more I can root that out and say, wait a minute, no, I'm cool. God loves me just the way I am. And so now I'm able to really look at this as a love. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, how healthy can I get? How beautiful can I get? How good can I make my skin? Can I reverse the aging process? Can I get younger, more flexible? Can I be happier? Can I make more money? Can I become super rich and famous, Oh, the taboo. But you know what? I've become who I am because I have all these childhood dreams are happening. And God is making that happen. Look how many people are healthier now because I have a huge ego and want to be rich and famous. So I get on YouTube and share information that I just love anyways. And now it's just like, so my teacher, Dr. Hawkins, said, first you master the world and then you go beyond it. And I got it. People are like, I'm going straight to God. I don't need any of this. Yeah, right. But then they're always looking back. Oh, should I go back? And should I try the marriage thing, or should I try the health thing? They don't do it. They try to skip. You got to go through it. Okay, fame, that's not it. Money, that's not it. Health, that's not it. Looks, that's not it. You have to know for sure for yourself that that's not it. Then you can get to that place where, oh, the treasure's inside of me, the enlightenment, the enlightenment, the kingdom of heaven within. Once you've got everything you want out of this world, then you can just go move on. That's just the way I see it right now. Then you can move on to that to be love, to be light, to be an avatar, you know. Because then you'll see, channeling God's energy down to earth and being that for everyone, that is what it's about. And that's what's sort of happened to me through this process. It's like, now I pray every day to be a channel of God's light, you know. And I'm just a little Dan trapped in a body. And if I'm going to be stuck on earth, I'm going to sure as hell have some fun. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go hungry. And I'm not going to be hobbled and depressed like I can't pay the IRS or something. I can't go and do what I want. I'm going to play the game on earth, you know. And that's what I've been doing with the DVDs. And I got a lot of other plans too. And you can, you know, money is cool, but I don't think it's going to, so far, it's not taking me over at all. It's like, it's a cool thing. But people are cooler, and this health and that feeling you get inside yourself when you plant the seeds, you till the soil, you pull the weeds, and you reap the harvest. Reaping the harvest of your life is awesome. Because you can mope around and be all bummed out and put other people down and say, oh, the economy's bad, I'm not going to bother. Or it's not worth it anyways, you know, and then you're never going to reap any harvest because you're never going to plant any seeds because you're like that guy on Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore. Oh, it didn't work out anyways. Forget it. I'm just going to go to the YouTube and complain on the Life Regenerators channel because he's living it up because he's got it so easy. He doesn't even have to work at any of this. He doesn't do anything behind the scenes. Yeah, right. If you want to make something happen, you put your work pants on, you put your gloves on, and you do it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it takes hard work, and you don't want to kill yourself, you know, but you want to just, when it's time to film DVDs, it's crunch time. I go there and I blood, sweat, and tears, 12 hours a day with them hot ass lights on me. But then I got a DVD, and that thing is going to sell for life. So it's a smart. So you bust your hump, but then you got a DVD that sells 30 years from now. I'll be selling those DVDs. But most people, not most people, but some people, they'll be, oh, it's not worth the 12 hours of blood, sweat, and tears. Forget it. I don't want to do it. I'm too lazy. The economy's bad anyways. We wouldn't sell any DVDs. And they're victim. And they're addicted to victim mentality. They're addicted to bad economy. I don't listen to any of that crap. Since the economy's gotten worse, my economy's gotten better. Why? Because I never listen to any of that crap, and I keep planting seeds. I write to people on the YouTube, I answer questions, I build up my thing, I do my work, I make YouTube videos, I help people. It's a service, but it's also, you know, my job, and it's also, at the top of the list, it's my hobby. I love it when I knock a video out of the park. And I nail one, every once in a while I nail
You got about
one.
9,000 hits on that Day in the Life, didn't you?
I did, I was surprised, because I thought, an hour and 10 minutes, you know,
I
only
watched
the
it this
hardcores.
morning. Haven't been watching too many of them lately.
But you watched the whole one this morning?
I sat down, I got up early this morning, like, hey, there's an hour video, let's check that one out. It's
Oh,
good.
That is amazing. Well, if anyone's,
Good.
I've only noticed myself that the video numbers are going up a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, the one we put up with Christina has got like 7,000. Because it was, you know, for a while there, at the, you know, it was 2 to 3, and then it was like 4.
One was like 9,000.
Now there's one. Now the Day in the Life of Dan is 9,000. It
The
just
whole
came
time
out
I
in
was
like 3
watching that, I
days.
was sure I was going to see you guys go by. I was like, Toyota Tacoma? No? Okay. The whole time. I was just positive I was going to see you.
When
I was watching the video, it's my crazy mind. I was sitting in my living room, but I felt so
Wishful
in
thinking.
it that I felt like at some point I was going to see myself on the camera or something, like see myself at the market or something.
I didn't think that was that. I thought it was kind of cool, but I think I could do better. I might make it like a monthly episode thing, because it took a day and a half's worth of work. I mean, I had to totally
edit it.
focus on that
Yeah.
to make the movie and to upload it and everything.
It kind of reminded me of that one when last summer when you were biking and you did vignettes throughout
Oh,
the
that was
entire
cool.
day.
Yeah.
that was nice.
Yeah.
That was such a good video. I love that one too.
How many of those did you? I did probably 30 of those.
But there was one where you started at 6 a.m. and you just snippets throughout the
150
entire
miles
day. It was
on
100
bananas?
Long day, a banana. Yeah, you
Yeah.
stopped at like an old age home. And
Yeah,
like
that
all
was
these
cool,
different
man.
places, you know?
That was so cool. They were like, I was like, do y'all believe in God? They were like, oh yeah, Sonny. I was like, yeah, what's up? It was so cool. That was a great. We're about ready to start another adventure here pretty soon. We're just trying to figure out. We got to wrap up a few details, but we're about to start a world tour here. So I'm not going to try to make too many promises because my life is that anything could change. Could get an offer from Australia to come and whatever. But I think we're going to do this. We're kind of crazy. We're just going to jump. And so I'm just not going to say too much because it wouldn't be cool if I said we're going to do this and then things didn't work out because we got to work out the details here. But I'll turn the camera off and we'll talk about it. But I got to go to the restroom first.
It's always going to be the
again.
case.
It won't be that they don't like you, I don't think. I think that it'll be like the type of person you are. You might want to straighten it out a bit. How's the lighting, okay?
Yeah.
You tip it a bit.
Tip it up.
I guess we'll make a little video here, and we're rolling pretty good, but
This is great.
you're going to bring up other people's stuff.
Sure.
And then they're unconscious. It's a lot of unconsciousness.
The light you shine brings their shadow up. Which is fine, I'm just saying. It does boil down to not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
So plus,
Amen.
Dan, you're dealing with a situation where you're somewhat well known. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who have very strong feelings about you one way or the other. And for every 95 people or 98, 99 people that really like you, there's going to be somebody that really doesn't. And
I got 97%. I think we're doing pretty good.
And I guess somebody who's more in the public eye like yourself is just going to have to learn that lesson and take that journey that a lot of us will never have to take that journey because we're just not that well known.
Well,
We're not causing strong reactions.
it'll be too bad for the people that never get to have that experience of being criticized and hammered on, because I'll tell you, it's been the number one thing. It's pounded me into a very strong person, self-accepting. I can just get up there and I'll take the tomatoes. I'll just Neo, dodging bullets, man. Because at first, there was a time there on the channel when it was so really, I was getting into it and I was feeding the haters. And they were just, where are they? They're gone. One day it clicked. I got it. And I just quit feeding them. And they just, of course they're still there. The mind is critical, so a lot of critics about this, what you wear, what you eat, all this stuff. But they've really turned me into, more of a dynamic, stronger person. So I'm glad. This is God's plan for me. Get up on the camera every day, and a lot of people are going to love you, which of course I needed that in some certain way. But I've also really appreciate the critics and the suggestions. There's a lot of cool suggestions as well. They're not being overly critical or necessarily supportive, but other different little things that I can look at. And I look at that and I think, oh, I never looked at it that way, but that's interesting. So thanks for the feedback. Those are my favorite types. Like, this is how I would do it if I was in the kitchen. A little bit different than you. I'm like, that's a good idea. And
you can use all these things as
yeah.
ideas, right? I mean,
That's what I've
everything
done.
you need,
I apply, like, that makes sense. Do this, do it that way. Oh, okay. I adopt it into my thing, so it helps me to constantly grow. As a professional, but I got skills in the kitchen, I got skills, all kinds of different things, that I can use. And I think that the YouTube has been epic, because I'm just still really young in my career, if you want to call it that. I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to do, really. If I was a commercial YouTuber the rest of my life, that'd be fine with me, because I just pretty much chill. I mean, I answer a lot of questions. I'm on the phone, I make my videos, do the computer work. But I'm free. I am 100% free. That was the thing I said years ago. I said, man, all the money in the world, anything is not, freedom is number one. I have to stay free. I had a job for a month once.
That's right.
At Ernst Hardware. And they ripped me off, man.
People understand what I'm saying. When you have to work for somebody,
you're a slave. I mean, we don't like to. Maybe that's my revolutionary stuff. But I mean, that's really what you are. You know what I mean? Even if you're well paid, even whatever, you know.
You
and
lose a
you
lot
want-
of creativity.
Yeah, and it's like you want to be able to. To be able to, like you said, be creative, be able to, and first of all, most importantly, even if you do work for someone else, you want to enjoy your job. 90% of people hate going to work, so they have attitudes, they're mad at their, at life. They come home angry, then that just affects, that's just a downward spiral. So it's like, to first enjoy what you do, you know what I'm saying? And, hopefully work for yourself as much as possible.
Yeah.
To have to work for somebody else, that's not,
Everybody wants freedom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants freedom. The thief wants freedom from hunger. Everybody wants freedom. And I've chose that a long time ago, and that's why I went without for a long time. I lived in a van. I had an apartment for a while once, but they just went right in there, and the lady didn't like me, so she kicked me out and threw all my stuff out on the street. I said, damn, this is how the world is? All my stuff that I worked hard for, and it was all out in the dumpster, out in the back alley, and it was all gone when I got there. A couple of the shoes and some old socks, and I was like, damn, that's the harsh, cold world at 21 years of age, And I was just like, forget that. I'd rather, I'm just going to be free. I don't want people to have power over me. That's why I live in vans and now motel rooms, because I'm staying free.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome.
Come on in.
Are you Isaac?
I am.
I think we met before sometime, didn't we, bro?
Okay.
I wish, but this is
No?
definitely the first time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm
Welcome.
from Seattle though,
Really?
so it's possible.
Huh. Anyways, you look kind of familiar.
There's another chair right there. Oh, no, wait, you were sitting there.
Yeah,
but
but you can sit there.
Let's
Check
end
right
that clip.
What's your name?
That wasn't my
Okay, well,
favorite.
now we can just, everyone, all you gotta do is dig in.
You think it's gonna blow? Is it good stable enough?
Group party.
What do they got? It's like a white paint.
They're so good.
Some people that might seem expensive, but for who lives on it, it's this good. What are they called, Ben? Nectoplums. Nectoplum? Nectoplum party. Half of it, half nectarine, half plum. Half nectarine, half plum. Good stuff, huh?
So good.
Really good.
Yep, this party. I love these kind of parties. Every
Watermelon party.
But you can take your
Watermelon party.
take your kit and just throw it in my ivy. Cool. Maybe I'll get some nectar plums. We bought a watermelon this big. It's very funny.
You make that whole thing, I haven't had a chance to eat any. The biggest one.
Yep.
I tasted it. Once I tasted one, that was it. See, that was what comes from it. You find good fruit, you gotta keep going.
finding? Orchid? The secret?
This was the only taste that they had.
Hey, Meg. Good. Good. We're having a, what is it? Nectar plum party. You want to try one?
Come over.
Come over and try one.
This would be like
That's how I feel about so much food. Better than anything that could ever be.
when it's ripe.
Yeah.
Ripe fruit is life.
I didn't want to use that for anything that's like cool. Dude, that's so right. Such a new word. So right.
I was wondering about. I was looking at those plums over there too.
Neighbor's tree. I was like, how are we gonna get you inside of the party now that you see that plum tree? When we pulled up, it's like, oh no.
Even when they're ripe,
I don't know. We haven't had that much luck with that. I like these with the skin, like they're soft. I like the
So everyone agrees. Nectar plums are in.
So ripe.
Oh, I've been standing right in front of my
Yeah.
back to the camera the whole time.
Oh yeah, baby, nectar plum.
You can tell I'm not a person that works with camera a lot.
Nectar plum for the win.
For the win.
Yeah.
For the save.
Awesome. Life Regenerator family right here.